All right, let's get right into it. Today we're going to unpack a really powerful tool for understanding why people do the things they do. It's a way of seeing past the surface to get to the real story, and it all kicks off with one simple question.
Seriously, think about that for a second. When you see someone on the street or you hear about someone's troubles on the news, what's your gut reaction? Is it judgment or is it curiosity? That one little choice, well, that's at the heart of everything we're talking about today. To really dig into this, we're going to look at 3 different lives, just 3 stories that, seem pretty easy to judge on the surface. But each one is going to lead us right back to that same crucial question.
So first up, meet Murray. You can picture the scene instantly, right? An older guy, clearly homeless, asking for change. Our brains, they just jump to conclusions so fast in a situation like this.
Next, we've got Mary, a pregnant teenager. And again, this is one of those situations that just screams for social judgment. It feels like we know her whole story from just this one little sentence.
And finally, there's Max. Okay, so from this description, he seems to be living a pretty dangerous life, making choices that look totally reckless, maybe even destructive. It's so easy to just write a guy like that off.
And that, of course, is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Are these snapshots, these first impressions, are they really the full picture of who Murray, Mary, and Max actually are? I think we know the answer is probably no.
Look, we all do this. It's human nature. We see something, and our brain just rushes to fill in the blanks with stories it already knows. We slap on a label, create a simple story, because hey, it's fast, it's efficient. But is it right? And this right here is that mental shortcut in action. Murray, the person, becomes lazy, the label. Mary becomes irresponsible. Max becomes criminal. We take an entire complex human being and just shrink them down to one single negative word. And that's the problem, you see. These labels might be easy, but they basically act like blinders. They completely stop us from asking the deeper questions. They hide all the context, all the pressures, all the invisible forces that are actually shaping someone's life. So, how do we get those blinders off? Well, there's this really powerful concept that helps us do exactly that. It's a total shift in perspective, and honestly, it changes everything.
It's called the sociological imagination. The term comes from a sociologist named Wright Mills, and all it really means is having the ability to see the link between our own personal lives and the much larger forces of society, to see how your personal story connects to the bigger human story.
So this way of thinking helps us tell the difference between 2 things. You've got personal troubles. That's like one person losing their job. Then you have public issues. That's when unemployment skyrockets across the entire country because of an economic crisis. It's about seeing when something isn't just a bad choice, but part of a much bigger pattern.
Okay, so now that we have this new tool, this new lens, let's go back to our 3 people. We're going to look past their so-called personal choices and see what else is really going on under the hood.
And boom, this is where it all clicks into place. We can actually map each person's individual situation to these huge forces at play in society. For Murray, for Mary, and for Max, their personal struggles are directly tied to massive public issues like poverty, gender roles, and inequality. Their stories just got a whole lot bigger.
So when we look at Murray with this new perspective, we see he's not just a guy who made bad choices. His struggle is connected to systemic poverty, a lack of good jobs, and a social stigma that makes it almost impossible to climb out of homelessness once you're in it.
And what about Mary? Her situation is being shaped by all these societal expectations about what young women should and shouldn't do, not to mention a serious lack of support systems, whether that's good education, healthcare, or just financial help. Her so-called choice didn't happen in a vacuum.
And finally, Max. We start to see him not just as a criminal, but as someone whose path was paved by his environment. When you've got limited opportunities, when you're surrounded by violence, and when the system has kind of forgotten you, crime can start to look like the only way to survive.
So, okay, why does any of this matter? Why is this new way of seeing so important? Well, this isn't just some academic thought experiment. It has huge, real-world consequences for every single one of us. Because when we only see personal choices, we fall into some really dangerous traps. We blame people for problems that are way bigger than them. Our society becomes less compassionate, and maybe worst of all, we totally ignore the real root causes, the public issues that actually need fixing. We miss every single opportunity to create real, meaningful change.
At the end of the day, the sociological imagination is really a bridge. It's what takes us from a place of snap judgment to a place of genuine empathy and understanding. It's what lets us, actually try to walk in someone else's shoes.
And that brings us right back to the beginning, but hopefully with a totally new perspective. So I'll leave you with this question. Whose story in your own life, in your community, might you be misreading?